Fourth round forecast tonight after a $9 million lottery.
The end of the Cerreta Brothers vineyard.
I don't have any choice in this. You're under arrest. Charge is murder, Miss Cromwell.
He was gonna cut me out of the winery.
So you shot him. Who are you trying to protect?
I am servicing my primary client.
Well, he liked to watch.
You know how to land one of these things?
What's to know?
Oh, great! Visions of the Hindenburg.
Tonight, Jacqueline Smith stars as Christine Cromwell.
So, Maxie took the towel off, started swinging it around her head, shouting, "Woo, woo, woo, I'm a steamroller baby."
Wine cheers the sad, revives the old, inspires the young, makes weariness forget his toil. Lord Byron.
George Gordon, Lord Byron, English Lit 202. One of the romantic poets. Gorgeous, lived fast, died young. Christine Cromwell's line. Oh, hi, Mrs. Cromwell. I mean, Mrs. Santiago. She is. It's for you.
Hello, Mother. We're on our way to the Cerreta harvest pressing. No. I can't. I won't. A little young.
Mother, he just graduated from college. Okay.
Yes, I know that Andreas is very sensitive. I know they ride for the same team. Okay. Bye-bye.
My mother doesn't do that for me.
Consider yourself lucky.
Oh, for a jug of wine, a loaf of bread.
I know, and Mr. Right, right?
Wow.
Not bad for a family-run operation.
Any heirs?
Tony. Frank's daughter. We were classmates at Sarah Lawrence.
Right name, wrong sex.
Oh,
Too much.
very smart.
Wow. Oh. Marvelous, Frank.
I designed the radio control mechanism myself.
This is such a wonderful welcome.
Thanks, I'm quite proud of it. It's a very effective marketing tool.
Don't be ridiculous. You can't be taking the wine up and down 400 feet every 5 minutes. You're killing the claret.
Don't you be ridiculous.
You disrespect the grape and the nose of the taster. I mean, if you want to turn the vineyard into Disneyland, that's your affair. But please, the wine speaks for itself.
It's delicious, full-bodied.
Now try mine. You'll see there's no difference.
I'm sure it's wonderful.
Christine, your diplomacy is as refined as your palate. Excuse me. Ah, Samson.
Hello. How are you?
Christine!
My God, how long has it been? 3 years?
Yeah, I guess the last time was at Catherine's wedding.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, remember? The bride wore white, the groom wore black, he was boring, and she was snoring.
And we were roaring. Oh, I haven't had Long Island iced tea since.
You married again?
No. You?
Nope.
Anybody special?
Not special enough for Dad. This isn't Cerreta Winery. I am Frank Cerreta's daughter. He's just critical. Never could do anything right for him as a child. Still can't. Not smart enough, not strong enough. Never enough.
That's a shame, Tony.
Oh, forget it. Anniversary pressure. Everybody's tense. Harvest time is always so crazy. I'm really fine. My nights are long and lonely, that's all.
Well, here's to common ground, then.
Yeah, hot air balloons are sophisticated, but accessible. Excellent marketing associations.
Cerreta's growth is certainly more than a marketing phenomenon.
Yes. Yes, enologically, I've made tremendous strides in yeast fermentation problems, stability during aging, color extractions. Yes. Color extractions.
Are you okay?
The future? Genetic engineering. Identical vintages. Watch this. This is the Pinot Noir. It's softer than the Cabernet, less tannin. Ages in 3 to 5 years. Now, here. Now, here's the Cabernet. It's more complex. If you can graft the complexity of the Cabernet to the quick-aging Pinot Noir and keep it stable, see, that is the trick. Keeping it stable so the taste will remain the same, year in and year out.
But what about the magic of the vintage? The rain and the sun and...
Romantic, metaphysical crap. No, winemaking's a science and a business.
You feeling all right, Frank?
It's a headache, nothing, just aspirin.
How's the vineyard's balance sheet?
The debt equity's fine. They aren't making a killing, but they don't have to. What's the problem?
Frank looks a little tense. I'll talk to Larry. Excuse me.
Somebody lights a match and she thinks Rome's on fire.
Then in the morning, the old women would come to the front of the house and they would read our palms, everybody's, except Frank's. Then they'd fill the old lager with grapes. And the whole troop would step in arm in arm, in a high stepping dance. They would crush the grapes, singing, shouting, dancing, back and forth, until the juice ran dark red over a white plate. Mama used to say that the entire harvest would be blessed with the joy of the gypsies if the first pressing was blessed with the joy of their dance. Na salud.
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 Hard to get you alone these days.
Where were you 20 years ago? Oh, please, don't answer that.
Hello, Larry.
Christine, this is our new attorney.
Noah Street, Miss Cromwell.
Hello?
We've shared the pleasures of the telephone.
Noah, what's the matter with you? You've got water in your glass.
Well, Larry, you know, one sip of wine cost me 2 strokes on the green.
I suppose it has nothing to do with the fact that one of your clients happens to be Blue Spring bottlers.
Mere coincidence.
Oh, excuse me. Father Trujillo, how are you? Oh, wait.
I have to confess, I find these ceremonies rather tedious.
Perhaps you should have taken on clients other than a winery.
Oh, I'm perfectly prepared to applaud archaic ritual, especially when it's a deductible marketing expense.
I understand you had problems with our suggestions for refinancing the winery.
Well, I like to think of my clients much the way you would think of an investment portfolio. Diversification and opportunity go hand in hand. Kelly, excuse me a moment. Hello, Doctor. What a pleasure.
How are you, Street?
Let's go have a little chat.
The
Gewürztraminer. Marbella is too sweet. And the Merlot is softer than the Cabernet. It's more voluptuous.
The Merlot.
Roberto Onirota. I am the cellar master for Signora Ceretta.
Buongiorno.
Piacere.
Hi, Si. Frankie, I'm thirsty.
I'll get a drink.
Oh, be an angel for your angel. You choose.
Here.
Hello, Angelina. You look smashing.
I'm glad somebody noticed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you all to Cerreta Vineyards. For 100 years, we have been committed to creating fine wines that will please the palate and the pocketbook as well. I would like to propose a toast to my mother, Sophia Cerreta, who taught me that a vintner can be a businessman and proud of it.
And to the memory of that same mother who taught me that wine is liquid poetry, a living, breathing enchantment.
Fire! Fire! And I'm a free cellar!
My Merlot. 5 years.
You greedy bastard! Never enough! Yes, enough! Finally enough!
I want to make another toast. To the end of the Cerreta Brothers Vineyard. And the beginning of the new Frank Cerreta Winery.
Larry, come on!
Stop it, Larry. Larry?
Ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding the unfortunate turn of events, the anniversary pressing will go on as scheduled.
What did he say to you?
Antonia Cerreta left the vineyards in co-proprietorship with both brothers.
Nearly correct. More precisely, she left the land to Larry and the vines to Frank. I believe her sense of humor ran to the macabre.
You were aware of Frank Cerreta's plan relative to the breakup of the partnership?
Of course, though I was not privy to the timing of the announcement.
But you said nothing of these plans to his brother.
Larry's never shown any interest in the business of the winery. He spends most of his time with the vines.
Frank's vines? As corporate counselor, you felt under no obligation to inform Larry of these impending events?
Oh, please. With 51% of the stock, Frank effectively controls the winery, and he insisted on complete discretion. I am servicing my primary client. I'm not suicidal.
Counselor, I think a judicial review board would find clear conflict of interest.
Fortunately, sir, you are not that board. Incidentally, I think it would be only fair to advise you that the Frank Soretta Winery will be conducting an extensive review of its investment advisory needs. Excuse me.
How was Tony?
Oh, I don't know. She completely shut down. She wouldn't say a word.
Get Eno to dig up the legals in the vineyard. Street's a snake, and I'm damned if he's taking over the vineyard account without a fight. I knew their mother, for God's sake.
Tony?
Later, I promise. I just have to do this.
I know that my grandmother would welcome you to the 100th anniversary harvest of Soretta Vineyards. She would say that on this day, we honor the gift of wine, we honor the gift of harvest, we honor the gift of family. And on this day, especially this anniversary, she would say that we must dance with the joy of the gypsies.
Tony.
Durante?
Tony, have you seen Larry?
Anybody here seen Larry Soretta? Tom,
See if you can find him.
Yes, sir.
Doc Kelly?
The arrow pierced the heart.
I'm sorry, Doc. I know he was a friend of yours. If you can't finish this job, I can get somebody from another county.
No, I'm fine. What the hell's going on here?
Tony, are you all right?
You were gone for 3 hours.
After the fight, I went for a drive. When I looked up, I was already in Modesto.
What about it, Larry? It was a crossbow bolt, wasn't it?
Yeah?
Excuse me, Sheriff, please. You don't want to say anything without the advice of counsel.
But I...
Larry, nothing.
Look, Miss Cromwell.
Sheriff, Larry, as corporate counsel, I urge you, talk to the man. Give him your full cooperation.
Counselor, a word if you please. If you pursue this friendly charade, I'll have you up on disbarment charges so fast it'll make your head spin. You'll spend the rest of your life in court trying to clear your name. Not a threat, a promise.
It seems Miss Cromwell thinks she knows what is in your best interest, Larry, so I will no longer be representing you in this matter.
I finished the preliminaries.
Sheriff, if you're not prepared to arrest Mr. Cerreta right this moment, I'd like to have some time to confer with him.
Okay. Larry, don't go anywhere I can't find you.
Where would I go, Ron?
I don't understand it. No one in this family is grieving.
He was a bastard.
Larry, I'm not your attorney. You're not protected. I really don't think that...
For years, I tried to find a vine that would grow on the land as well as the Cabernet did. I tried everything. Pinot Noir, Merlot, Riesling. If I had found one, I would have burned his vines down and kicked the ashes in his face. But nothing took the way the Cabernet did. I don't know, maybe it was the cuttings from the old country. Vines have a history of their own. Our history was of a match made in hell. But the wine was good. The wine was good.
What about the arrow?
Bold. And it was from a crossbow.
You have a crossbow.
Christine, I would have thrown him off the land, but I didn't kill Frank.
Who really controls the winery now?
Bottom line, we aren't sure. Stewart's on the paperwork, but Mama Cerreta's ancestor was probably Machiavelli. There are cross-collateralized controls everywhere. Maybe Angelina, maybe Tony. It should be Larry. But then, if he's held responsible for Frank's death, it tosses the issue back to the courts.
Antonia always knew they'd be at each other's throats. It was her way of protecting the winery. The vines to one, the land to the other. Tied to each other for eternity. Suggestions?
Well, first, let's bring in the best defense attorney we can. Call Belli or Turner in Chicago.
I think not yet.
Cyrus.
Larry likes you.
Oh, no, you're...
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not suggesting you try the case. Just sweat out the first few days till we see what develops.
What are you saying?
I'm saying he isn't even indicted yet. And until we find the right person, he's comfortable with you.
Fine, we'll wait. Maybe the killer will just walk into the police and turn himself in.
If it isn't Larry.
If.
Christine, let's not be immune to reality.
Sarah, I'm going to see Tony Cerreta, and I'd like you to tell Stewart I'll need the corporates on the vineyard when I get back. And I'd like a guest list from the party and whatever there is on Noah Street, who he is, why he is, how he got to be human Pam. Sarah, what are you doing?
Sharpening.
What is that?
What?
Your desk is chirping. Sarah.
But it's an orphan.
Where is it? It's adorable. What happened to its mother?
She moved out. She couldn't afford her half the rent, so she left me Lido for the balance.
Lido?
It's a boy.
Yes, well, he can't stay here. Cyrus will have a fit.
Christine, please. He has to be fed twice a day. It's so lonely at home without me, and what if I had to work late?
Sarah, tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Thanks. Lido says thanks, too.
Who wouldn't want to kill him? He was manipulative, unfeeling, calculating. I don't know what I feel. I can barely drag myself out of bed in the morning. The man never let me get close to him, and now I feel like I should be grieving, but it's just not kicking in.
I can understand that.
I don't really think you could. Thank God there's a harvest to bring in, and the vines don't wait.
Frank would be proud.
You think so?
Of course he would.
No, he wouldn't. Just as soon see the grapes rot. Whoa. I think he's picked up a stone. Here. Oh, damn it.
Tony, you think you can keep the winery running?
Oh, who the hell knows? Think it's too late to become a rock star? Come on, baby.
Oh, your public's calling.
Perfect. Christine, do you mind if I take your horse?
Don't think twice.
You have no problem finding your way back?
No, I'm fine. Don't worry.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Cromwell, you all right?
Roberto, what was the shooting?
The birds. I chased them away before the harvest.
Roberto, tell me the truth. Does someone want to destroy the winery?
Mr. Cerrete was a powerful man. With power comes enemies.
You don't seem terribly upset about Frank's death.
In Palermo, we have a saying. Oggi bambini, domani corpi.
Today a baby, tomorrow a corpse. We say here today, gone tomorrow.
See, America, Italia, not so different after all. The house is just up the road. I go check the field. Ciao.
Signor Pogue the Fourth?
Cancel.
Ambassadore Cook.
Stall?
Tu es mama?
Tell her I'll be there at 6. Sarah, why are you speaking to me in Italian?
Ah, ecco. Domani notte io va con Roberto.
Your conjugation's off. It's vado.
Conjugate, conjugal. At any rate, I'm going out with Roberto tomorrow night.
Sorry, this is like trying to unravel a plate of spaghetti. Mama is a shrewd quarterback. Death by natural sends the vines to the heirs, but the control to the brother. But if Larry is ruled ineligible receiver, it flips it back to a trust, and you're going to have to deal with the executor of the estate, Mr. Noah Street.
Oh, terrific.
Sorry.
Okay. Get me something on street. I need some leverage before I go one-on-one.
Got it.
And Sarah, see, how about mixing a little business with pleasure? Get the story behind Mr. Handsome, Sexy Cellar Master.
Roberto.
See, he says he's from Palermo in the south, and yet he quotes pithy sayings from Tuscany, which is in the north.
Oh, no.
He's hiding something.
Maybe a body search?
Miss Cromwell, Tony Cerrete is here to see you.
Christine, I really, I appreciate your help, but I think that it's better if I handle this myself.
Do me a favor. Stop trying to prove you're Superwoman. I'm your friend. Let me help you.
You help Larry. He didn't kill Frank.
How do you know?
He wouldn't. I have to get back, but I just wanted you to know that Cerrete Winery will be conducting business as usual.
Tony, how do you maintain your composure in the face of your father's murder?
All they gave me was his name. I'm not sorry he's dead.
Mother, where are you? Mother?
Isn't he sweet? He bought all of this stuff for our 3-month anniversary.
Remarkable.
You should try it, Christine. Get yourself a personal trainer and get yourself pumped up.
I could call Manfredo. He will do wonders, Christine.
Oh, thank you, Andreas. That's very nice. Maybe some other time.
No, but really, Christine,
I'm too pooped to pump.
Well, I'm not surprised. I don't know why Cyrus feels that you have to hold the hand of every client who's put some arrows through his brother's chest.
There.
Well, I mean, really, Frank Cerretta is a perfectly awful man. His brother's a moony romantic, so he shot him. Who's to say he didn't deserve it?
But Larry swears he didn't do it.
Do you believe him?
I don't know.
I've never been too clear on the Cerretta background. Why don't I take this afternoon off and try to
snoop around a little bit?
Yeah. I won't be doing it just for you. I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, you always do. It's one of your strongest points, Mother.
You look beautiful as always, Samantha.
Thank you, Thomas.
Shame about Franco Cerretta.
They were quite a pair, Frank and Larry.
Well, they were never close, but their relationship was certainly less strained before Mama Cerretta arranged Frank's marriage to Antonia.
So, that marriage was arranged.
To end a blood feud between the Cerrettas and another family of vintners. They'd been at war with each other for hundreds of years over land and water rights in Tuscany.
And did the marriage help?
So it seems. Arranged or no, as I recall, Frank was madly in love with Antonia.
Well, so unfortunately was Larry.
Ha ha ha, Samantha. Not many rumors get by you.
Well, we're talking fairly common knowledge here. Like the fact that Antonia was in love with Larry.
But the families insisted she marry Frank.
Why?
He was eldest. And Larry was destroyed. In fact, a few months after the marriage, Larry left the wine business altogether and went off on safari. He only came back at Mama Cerretta's insistence when Frank had the nervous breakdown.
I didn't know Frank had a nervous breakdown.
Went to pieces when Antonia died, giving birth to Tony.
Excuse me, Brother Thomas.
I'll be right there. Thank you. Forgive me, Samantha.
It's been lovely, Thomas. And illuminating, as always.
Oh, my pleasure. And please, don't stay away so long.
I won't.
Mother, why do you suppose Larry left the business?
I think he was heartbroken.
I'm starting to feel there's more to this than unrequited love.
Amore. You know, that's really the only reason anybody does anything. You ought to know that.
Oh, my God, I'm late. I told Angelina I'd drop her.
Who?
Frank's wife. Any backstory on her?
Well, only that she's the fifth, or is it the fourth? If she signed the same prenuptial as the others, she has even more of a motive than Larry.
Oh, that's a given, Mother. I'm ahead of you on that point. If he dies and they're not divorced or separated, she gets everything. If they're not together, she gets nothing.
Well, to my untutored ears, this sounds like a hell of a motive.
Lunatic! If I get my hands on you, Hey! Cazzo fai? Panopolo!
You all right? What's going on?
Hey! Crazy! The prankster. I'm chasing him, and then I see you come up the drive.
Did you see who it was?
No, it's too dark.
Lucky you were here, Roberto.
Sì, buona fortuna.
What brought you over?
Sometimes it's better not to investigate too close, eh? Miss Cromwell, per favor.
Roberto? Honey, who's there? Oh, Miss Cromwell. I completely forgot.
He hates me. He hates me because I was Frank's wife. I want him arrested. He's crazy.
Larry? He seems perfectly sane to me.
Of course he does. He's your client. God, the man is sick. How can he be running around loose on the streets? I'm terrified and I want him arrested.
The police are on their way, Mrs. Cerretta. Now, I realize this is a difficult time, but...
Oh, and don't worry about Rafi and me. Frankie and I had an understanding.
Understanding?
Don't look so shocked. He was the one having the affair.
Did you know with whom?
Of course not. Of course, every Tuesday he'd disappear for the entire day. They had business in the city. Ha! I knew, and he knew that I knew. I never even bothered to deny it. I tell you, the last 6 months with Frank was almost a sexual wasteland.
Almost?
Well, he liked to watch. Look, the point is, what's the status on the company?
Well, there's a bit of turmoil, as you can imagine.
Honey, I have got a wedding ring. I want to know what's coming to me.
Well, when we determine the disposition of Frank's portion of the estate, we'll look into it.
And the sooner that is, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I think we have company. Rob, you better put a shirt on. What's going on? I saw the lights.
Your uncle's playing the Gypsy King.
You don't know that it's Larry.
Do you have any better suggestions?
Yeah, probably kids. Locals. And I don't know, too much time and not enough money.
Tony.
Come on, Ron, you used to do the same thing.
No. I never used to drive axes into doors and mutilate dolls for fun, did you?
What are you suggesting? That my uncle is running through the night? Playing let's scare Angelina to death?
I'm saying that it's serious enough for me to want to talk to him.
Well, you can save yourself a trip, because he was with me all night long.
Tony, please.
We had dinner, he cooked. I drank. If you want to arrest somebody, arrest me for driving under the influence.
Look, I am not gunning for Larry. I'm on your side. Remember?
I'm sorry. Where's Angel?
Upstairs. You two go back to childhood, don't you?
Yeah, you might say that.
It's a lot of history. What happened?
A lot of long, hot summer nights. Till he killed it.
Who?
Frank. Not a lot of Italian wine dynasties in my family, you know. Mostly just cops and cowboys.
Tony's pretty tough. I'm surprised she'd let anybody tell her what to do.
Yeah. I was too.
Listen, about Roberto, watch yourself. He's playing Italian stallion with Angelina Cerretto. So forewarned is forearmed.
Really? You sure?
Sarah, of course I'm sure.
Just checking.
Oh, tell Stewart to check out Ron Lord and to be discreet. Also, have him run a check on all the Cerretto phone bills. See if there's a single line, a private line, maybe with call forwarding.
Got it.
Also, see if there's any regular long-distance calls to San Francisco on Tuesdays during the past year. Who, where, when. Oh, and Sarah, you think you can find a way to keep Lito quiet?
Hello, Cyrus.
Hello, Street.
Always wondered what it was like in the Four Oaks Sanctum Sanctorum. Pretty cushy. Bocce, right? Love it.
Actually, no. It's close, though.
So, talk to me, Cyrus. It's your dime.
Considering Blaine and Knapp's vested interests, what's the disposition of the estate?
Cloudy with a chance of rain, I'd say. I figure the court will toss the vineyard into executorship right from the indictment and stay Larry from access to corporate funds for his legal defense. Can't profit from the crime, you know.
He hasn't been indicted yet.
He will be. Angelina's divorce could also be a problem.
Angelina's divorce?
Oh, yes. Well, she'll be 30 in 7 months. Frank filed 2 months ago. She doesn't know yet. You know, I think number 3 shows a lot of imagination. With the prenup she signed, Angel will be lucky to escape with her clothes on her back. Oh, she'll put up a fight, of course, but really, any woman who has her husband come into the bedroom and take snapshots of her and her lover hardly shows very good judgment. On the other hand, Larry's conviction definitely complicates the matter.
You found him guilty?
Only on this little green lawn, Cyrus. Publicly, you will not find a more staunch defender of Lorenzo Cerreta.
Who's the executor in probate?
I am.
I see.
Now, I've done a fair amount of research in preparation for my newfound responsibility. I'll tell you, from an investment point of view, a winery is far too chancy.
Are you saying you're thinking of dismantling Cerreta?
Well, much better land use might be a golf course or a shopping center. Much better return on the dollar. Frank's idea was a vinegar factory. Now, I kind of like that one myself.
What?
That's right. My guess is that's why Larry killed Frank.
Street, your conflict of interest is so apparent, we'll bring you before any jurist, and you'll be removed as executor in 2 minutes. I'll see to it.
Well, I think not. If this were strictly a corporate case, perhaps, but you see, the courts are loath to remove executors of personal estates, and Cerreta is privately held. Could you hold these?
Good shot.
See you, Cyrus.
Miss Cromwell, Assistant District Attorney Luke Rossi is here to see you.
Oh, thanks. Send him in.
When I come here, why do I always feel like my pants are too short?
Vogue says that style is making a comeback. This certainly is a pleasant surprise.
The feeling is mutual. I thought you would like a copy of the autopsy.
Oh, no, this isn't, your...
My case? Bingo.
Oh, well, your office could have faxed one over.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes they get smudged in the transmission.
That's true. Smudged.
So I thought I'd bring over a nice clean one. See what you're doing for lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, Christine, we could make a better deal if Larry Cerreta confessed.
But don't hold your breath. He didn't do it.
Who's kidding whom? Your friend was playing William Tell with his brother.
How are you going to convict him without a murder weapon?
We'll find it.
While we're on the subject, I don't see any mention of aspirin in this autopsy.
That's probably because the coroner didn't find any in his bloodstream.
And there's no explanation of the strange body position.
What are you saying? The man took an arrow to his chest.
Maybe we better rain check lunch.
Christine, is there something you're not telling me?
Yes. Don't look at those pictures on my desk. I happened to take a look at the medical examiner's report. You performed the autopsy, didn't you, Doctor?
Yeah, that's right. Terrible day. The worst.
Did you find any drugs in Frank Cerreta's bloodstream?
Some alcohol. Oh, I think 0.08 or something.
Besides the wine, I mean.
No.
That's odd. I understand that he took some pills the day he was killed.
And you must be mistaken, Miss Cromwell.
No, I don't think so.
Perhaps it was an antacid. They're absorbed by the stomach lining quickly and dilute almost immediately.
I noticed that you made no mention of the facial expression or body position.
Are you a doctor?
No, I'm not.
Then let me explain something. The man died with an arrow through the heart, the aorta to be exact.
I understand that, Doctor. It's just that when dealing with murder, one shouldn't overlook anything. Don't you agree?
Miss Cromwell, I don't tell you how to invest your client's money.
I meant no offense. Thank you, Doctor. I won't trouble you any further.
I never come in here. It depresses me. Frank never understood anything about the romance of wine. He thought it was just a series of chemical reactions and fermentation processes. He never understood anything about the soul of the grape. His way was good with business, but took the magic out of life.
Where's the computer?
What?
On the day he was killed, Sarah said he was demonstrating the future with his mini computer. Where is it?
I have no idea. Maybe Tony has it.
Evening, Larry.
Ron?
We got a problem.
What?
Boy Scout troop camped up in the woods behind your place found a crossbow. I'm sorry, Larry, it's your weapon. I don't have any choice in this. You're under arrest. Charge is murder, Miss Cromwell.
The ABC Saturday Mystery, starring Jacqueline Smith as Christine Cromwell, will continue in a moment.
He's not a runner, is he?
Not likely.
Okay, the state's gonna ask for 25 grand. Good for you?
Good for me.
Listen, let's save the taxpayers some money. I think I can sell voluntary manslaughter if we don't go to discovery.
Then what? Larry goes away for 5 to 15?
Christine.
No, thanks.
It's his weapon. His fingerprints were all over it. They found it in the woods in his backyard. He hated his brother. I mean, come on.
Larry's not a killer.
Oh, really? I don't think the jury would see a renowned big game hunter as a pacifist.
Oh, that's a good position to take, Luke. He killed his brother for sport.
Very cute, counselor.
Throwback to my old days in the PD's office.
Third double hernia case in 2 weeks. I'm beginning to wonder if it's an omen. How's your mother?
She's fine. She started working out.
Good, good. Can't overestimate the value of exercise.
I think she feels the same way. Pop, I need your help.
Shoot.
Would it be possible for a man to die with a smile on his face?
Well, there were times with Sam when I felt it would have been very easy.
I mean,
There you go.
the man's expression was set, almost frozen.
Rigor mortis.
He wasn't dead for more than an hour.
Too soon. Anything else out of the ordinary?
Well, his arm was in a very strange position, like a toast.
Paralysis. That is peculiar. Strange for a neuromuscular seizure to occur like that without something specific to set it off.
Like what?
Neurotoxin. Poison of some sort.
The autopsy report didn't indicate anything like that.
Maybe he missed it.
What kind of poison could cause that effect?
Not sure. Something alkaloid. Like, curare?
Curare? South American Indians?
The Indians use it while hunting to paralyze their prey. It works by interfering with the transmission of the nerve impulse in skeletal muscles. Recently, we've been using it as an adjunct to general anesthesia.
Where do you get it?
Oh, it's a plant extract. Once you've got the roots, it's basically a process of distillation.
And it's powerful enough to kill someone?
Sweetie, in sufficient quantity, death is nearly instantaneous.
Larry, who wants to destroy you? You're looking at spending the rest of your life in prison, so if you know something, let me know. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time.
Maybe Sam Rojas. Frank had just bought his land out from under him.
Suppose you make things clearer.
Samson Rojas owns the vineyard next to Soretta. Its land is the same gradation, soil composition, altitude, water table, etc. It's virtually the same land as ours.
Frank had Noah make some calls to the banks. They put the squeeze on Samson for, well, I don't know, second, third paper on the land, and before we knew it, Frank owned it.
I still don't understand.
Well, Frank was planning to transplant the vines to Rojas land, which would have allowed him to maintain the same characteristics as our Cabernet Sauvignon.
They finally figured out a way to destroy the partnership and keep the wine. He had me beat. It's just that it was at the cost of Sam Rojas's farm. And that's what we were fighting about the day he
And Rojas' farm has been in his family as far back as the Spanish land grants. Now he's gonna lose it.
Yeah, we're newcomers compared to him. He's a proud man. I respect him. If I were Samson, you can bet I wouldn't take it laying down.
Salud, riqueza, amor, health, wealth, and love.
It's wonderful. Beautiful amber, nutty. It reminds me almost of a Portuguese Madeira.
200 years ago, Father Juniper Serra gave the first vineyard cuttings to my great-great-grandfather. My family has deep roots here, like the roots of the vine.
I can appreciate that.
Can you, Miss Cromwell? Can you imagine what it is like to have your land stolen from you by your neighbor?
Stolen is a harsh word, Senor Rojas. The banks have a lien.
Stolen! It is the right word. My grandfather sold Vittorio Ceretta his land. Now they try to take my vineyard. Justice has been served.
Do you mean Frank Soretta's murder?
As children, Lorenzo and I hunted together. As a man, he had a way with the grape that I could not match. So I left the Cabernet to the Cerettas. I started making sherry. Still, they want my land. They will not have it. Or if they do, I will plow it with salt first.
That's a rather extreme measure, Senor Rojas. So is arson.
Senor, they need you at the Solera.
Must excuse me, Miss Cromwell. The vintner is like the alchemist. It is not enough to have the land and the vines. One must add just the right amount of sugar. Let the grape ferment just so. Rack the bottles at the precise moment. Otherwise, you might just as well be making poison. Please, stay. Finish your drink.
Cyrus?
Christine, I can't believe you're not ready.
I just don't feel right about this, Cyrus. I can't concentrate on the opera.
Your mother will have my head on a platter if you're not there. The annual champagne ball kicks off the season.
No, it'll take me 5 minutes to change.
I'd like to be there a little early. It's important for the firm's profile, if nothing else.
How about the firm's profile if Larry Soretta is convicted of murder?
That's uncalled for. Since you bring it up, however, I think it's time we realize that Larry's position's becoming untenable.
You're not suggesting we walk away.
No, but I think we have to realize that he may not be able to prove himself innocent, in which case a convicted murderer is hardly the best advertisement for the firm.
Cyrus, we have clients that make Attila the Hun look like Little Orphan Annie.
True.
And they remain our clients because of the outstanding business acumen we possess and the personal service we provide.
Also true.
If Larry proves innocent, control of Soretta passes back to him, and we don't lose the case, If he's guilty, we've displayed loyalty to an old and valued client.
I surrender.
We won't lose Cyrus. He's innocent.
I wish I had your faith. Now, will you please get dressed?
Have you ever considered wearing a bolo?
Bolo?
I got the straight dope on Don Juan the winemaker. His name isn't Anerota, it's Atarino. His family has been in the wine business in Tuscany for 200 years.
I knew he wasn't from the South. Why the name change?
He said that he wanted to make it in America without trading on his family pedigree. Now, if you believe that, I have a slightly damaged bridge on the bay I can sell you for a very nice price.
Wait. Hello, Mother. Do you know Antonia Soretta's maiden name? Mother, you've never forgotten anything in your life. Well, could you call Brother Thomas? No, I won't be late. Yes, I'll hold. Could you please get me the dress? How did you extract this information, or should I ask?
I told him that I had always wanted to be in the wine business, but Daddy wouldn't buy me a vineyard because I didn't know a Bordeaux from a Beaujolais. His advances went from physical to financial in 5 seconds. Said he was prepared to partner with me in establishing a new dynasty.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Mother. I might be a tad late. Could you hold the fort for me? Thanks. Guess what? Antonia Soretta's maiden name is Atarino. Great work, Sarah. Here are my tickets to the champagne dinner and the opera. I've got to find Grazi.
But I don't have anything to wear.
Okay.
I know, if I spill on the dress, I never walk again.
Right.
You haven't changed yet?
I think I found the killer, Cyrus. I'm going over to Grazi's. Sarah's on deck. I'll keep you posted.
Christine!
2 minutes, Mr. Blaine.
No, absolutely not. Look, it's just nonsense. Take care of it, will you? All right. Bye.
Sorry, your office said I'd find you here. Guess what?
No, I know. I was just gonna call you. I guess news travels pretty fast.
What news?
Tony Soretta just walked in here and confessed to Frank's murder.
What are you trying to do?
I did it. I killed him.
Really? Why?
Because he was cold and he was abusive.
I see. Physically?
Yes. No.
That's a good answer.
He was going to cut me out of the winery. He was bringing in Roberto to run the new vineyard.
So you shot him?
That's right. I hated him. And I thought I could let Larry take the blame.
This is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. You're lying to me, Tony. Why? Do you think you can protect Larry from going to prison?
Don't flatter yourself, Christine. You think going to Sarah Lawrence puts us above murder?
No. I think that Roberto might have killed Frank.
Right. Nice try.
His name's Atarino. He's part of your mother's family. I think in some twisted way, he wanted to carry on the vendetta.
I've seen that man work the vineyards. He loves this winery too much to try and destroy it.
And you don't.
I don't know, Pop. The whole thing doesn't make sense. Why would Tony want to take the fall for Larry?
Perhaps she feels she owes something to him.
Like what? And how could Larry kill his older brother?
Christine, the story of Cain and Abel is not exactly new.
I know all the evidence points to Larry, but I don't think he did it. Neither did Tony. I think it was the cellar master, Roberto, or maybe the neighbor, Rojas. And I know their lawyer's crooked.
Well, perhaps she feels she has something to prove.
To whom?
Tell me again about the family. Larry is forever single, and The 5 marriages of Frank all end in divorce?
Yep. He files when they hit 29. Seems to be the magic number.
How old was his first wife when she died?
30.
30? Not 29?
No.
Interesting.
What?
He divorced all the wives at the same age. Not at the age of his Antonia when she died, but almost a year younger.
Preventative medicine. Maybe he thought the memory of her death would be unbearable.
Possible, but not a very likely response.
Why is that?
More likely, it had something to do with events in his own life at the time.
When Antonia was 29?
It's a theory. Who knows? Psychology is just a series of educated guesses and suppositions.
Pop, I've never heard you admit that before.
If you tell anybody that I said that, I will deny it.
We need to talk, Mr. Attorino.
You killed Frank Soretta.
No, I swear to you.
You came to America to avenge the death of Antonia Soretta, formerly Antonia Attorino.
All right. All right. My grandmother was sister to Antonia. The family, they don't want this marriage. So when Antonia died, they swore revenge, right? I came to America for vendetta. But I change. I fall in love here.
With Angel?
No, with the land. The way of life. I mean, there is so much here that is good.
And you thought by killing Frank, you would marry Angel and take it.
No. Hey, look. Angel is fun. But Frank, he never touched her. And a woman, she needs love. There's no harm. What is wrong with this?
Plenty, if it leads to murder.
Hey, Christina, I love America. If I kill Frank, I spend the rest of my life afraid. And for what? I was going to run the new vineyard, me. I am not stupid enough to kill the goose that lays the golden egg, huh?
And now?
No. Now I finish the harvest, I prepare the wine. I feel this could be as good a year as 1965. Frank would be proud. And then? Well, hey, some will want to be in business with the Attorino family, huh? I mean, a 200-year tradition is hard to come by.
You're right about that.
Miss Cromwell, I don't wish to appear rude, but...
Tony Soretta confessed to murder.
Oh, impossible.
My sentiments exactly. So, Doctor, let's go over the autopsy again. What about the body position?
Nothing unusual.
Come on, Doc. What about the upraised arm? At the very least, an apoplectic convulsion.
I disagree. The force of the arrow could have flung the body into
Into what? A toast?
Of course not.
What about poison, say, curare?
Now, look, Miss Cromwell, you're completely out of line here. But since I know your intentions are of the highest caliber, I'll state, and only at this time, that perhaps in my upset I might have overlooked something. Perhaps, I say perhaps, there were physiological indications of secondary reactions. I mean, after all, Frank was an old friend. We were comrades in arms, so to speak. And unfortunately, I'm not made of stone.
You have my deepest sympathy.
Yes, well, I'll have another look. I mean, it's unlikely, but I might have missed something. Well, I'll be damned. In fact, on second look, it appears that there are traces of what might be some sort of alkaloid.
How do you account for that, Doctor?
It was probably on the arrowhead. I'll reissue the autopsy immediately. I still maintain that the impact of the crossbow bolt was the primary cause of death.
I don't believe you overlooked anything. What's going on here? Who are you trying to protect?
I don't know what you're talking about. I made a mistake.
Don't play the fool, Dr. Kelly. It's unbecoming.
It was an honest mistake. I'm going to correct it. Now, thank you to leave my office now.
Doctor, I suggest you check your malpractice insurance. I hope your premiums are paid up.
How's your mother been?
Oh, she's fine.
How about you? How's my girl?
Okay.
Great. Oh, you have this very thoughtful mother, Christine. Take a look at this article, she said.
Oh, Irish heraldry. Your family is peerage.
Yeah, for only $200. They're sending me a plaque with my coat of arms, a listing of all my famous relatives. Seems the McDougalls were quite high in the royal way, thank you, back in County Claremont.
I always knew it, Paul.
Hey, Mac.
Hi.
Officer Borland. This is my stepdaughter, Christine.
Hello?
Hello.
Sorry, sir.
So, what can I do to help you, darling?
Tell me, if you shot someone with a crossbow, would you have to put poison on the arrow to make sure the kill would be effective?
I don't think so. Depends on the distance, but anything under 50 yards, a bolt from a crossbow would rip through the heart with so much force. You wouldn't need help from poison or anything else.
At close range, would you be able to maintain a body position like this? Oh, no.
Only if you were the Statue of Liberty. But if you're human, no way in the world.
Curare? It's a little exotic outside the Brazilian rainforest, isn't it?
Oh, we won't know unless you pull the arrow from evidence, will we?
Christine, I doubt whether someone would have to ensure their intent by dipping a crossbow bolt into curare. It's like bullets in arsenic, wouldn't you say?
Just consider pulling it for me as a favor.
Then consider dinner.
Bribery?
I was thinking more along the lines of flattery.
Good. So, you'll pull the arrow?
It's a bolt. And I'll see you at 8. Sal's on the wharf.
Okay, you got it. All clear, Stuart.
So far, zip on Ron Lord. Everybody likes the sheriff. No one's talking.
Keep digging.
Second, yes, there is a single line from Soretta Vineyards, obviously a separate private line since it wasn't even on the regular exchange. And it did have call forwarding.
I knew it. I knew Frank wouldn't leave the vineyards for even a day and remain completely unreachable. There had to be a way people could reach him.
As you can see, on the following circled dates, there were repeated long-distance calls forwarded to the same particular number in San Francisco.
Whose number?
San Francisco General Hospital.
Sarah? Stuart, this is turning into a very good day. Call Barbara Marburg at San Francisco General and tell her you need a favor.
You're Christine? I'm Sal. Luke Rossi just called, said he's on his way, sorry, and I should know you're number one all the way.
Thank you.
You know the president eats here when he's in town?
More important, it seems the assistant DA eats here when he's in town.
You a lawyer, too?
I used to be.
That lawyer is a bum rap. I tell Grossi all the time, get out, open a tartaria. He doesn't listen.
Most lawyers don't.
I knew you were smart. Here he is.
Thanks for holding down the fort, huh, Sal? Geez, I'm sorry, but you are not going to believe this one.
I can't wait.
This time, Larry Soretta shows up and confesses for Frank's murder. Now, what is it with this family, anyway?
The ABC Saturday Mystery starring Jacqueline Smith as Christine Cromwell will continue in a moment.
Anybody want to tell me what's going on? Let's lay out some facts. Fact. Antonia married Frank, though she loved Larry, and Larry loved her. Fact. Larry and Antonia were having an affair that was broken up by grandmother Soretta for the good of the winery. Larry leaves the wine business and goes off to hunt big game. Fact. Larry returns to the business. When? After Antonia dies, giving birth to Tony.
Christine.
Then Frank starts to marry again and again, but each time a woman reaches the age of 30, the age his wife died, he divorces her. Ah, wait, it really isn't 30, is it? He actually files for divorce, in effect, ends the marriage 9 months before. Always 9 months before each wife's 30th birthday. I figured that out. He divorced each wife on the symbolic day that his daughter was conceived. I'm sorry, Tony. Why would a father do that? How could a father do that? He couldn't. Unless the child wasn't his. Frank wasn't Tony's father, was he, Larry?
No. I knew all along. Everybody knew. Mama, Antonia, Frank. She was carrying you when she married Frank. I had to go. Then when she died and you lived, I couldn't stay away. I had to come back. What? You grew up. Even if it was only as an uncle.
He told me.
What?
On the day of the anniversary. The day he was killed. After you fought, I tried to talk to him and tried to reason with him. That's when he told me. He said it with such hatred.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Me too.
Okay, what you're telling me here is that they were confessing to Frank's murder to save one another.
Absolutely.
And as far as you're concerned, that proves that neither one of them did it.
Exactly.
I hate to tell you, Christine, that's gonna be a tough sell with the DA.
All those years of lying.
You know, it's a shame, too, because Tony gets the short end of this whole deal.
She's a wreck. Which is about how I feel right now. I've got to get some sleep. You mind getting me a cab?
No, not at all. Hey, look at this. We lucked out. Christine? Can I see you home?
Let's wait. violets are blue. Sal says I'm dead if I don't bring you back to dinner. Mary?
Yes?
Has Sarah been in this morning?
Oh, she was in early. Told me to tell you she'd be at the hospital. Is she all right?
Don't worry. I'm sure by now she's just fine.
She did leave 2 messages for you. Could you please feed and water Lido?
Wonderful. And the second?
From Luke Grossi. Sorry, the lab said there was no poison on the crossbow bolt. I can stall an arraignment for a little while, but your move.
Okay, would you please tell Stewart I'm looking for him?
Already on his way.
This Noah Street is a pretty slick character. Public school overachiever, Berkeley undergrad, Stanford Law, clerked for Supreme Court Justice Stimson.
Not bad.
Just wait. He went to work at Cooper Orr, and in 2 years was the architect of the International Arena Football League deal, corporate counsel.
The Justice Department probe?
You got it.
But they didn't catch Street.
Nope, he got away clean. Next time we see him, he is over at Bender and Swanson as head of corporate acquisitions.
And?
And nobody's talking. But when he left, there was this funny smell.
So nobody's been able to make anything stick to it.
The man is unquestionably smooth.
What does TRW say?
He appears to be leveraged to the max, but his payments are clean. Worth a fair amount, but still not a major player. More like a major leech. There's a word on the street that he's got a deal in play to buy a golf course.
Big numbers, limited offering, no SEC.
That's it. He's got to be making the play with somebody else's money.
400.
450. I have 450.
500.
I have 600.
650.
700. I have 700. Do I hear 750? 700 once? Twice? Sold. The 1945 Chateau Rode de Galais to Mr. Clyde Phillips. Next, we have a case of Cerreta Brothers Cabernet Sauvignon 1955, donated by Mr. Lorenzo Cerreta. Let me remind you that this is the same vintage that won the Napa Valley First International Gold Medal at the Paris Exposition. We are looking to start the bidding at 2,400. 2,400? 2,000. $1,800 for Cerreta Brothers Cabernet Sauvignon 55.
$3,500.
$4,000.
6.
8.
$10,000.
I have $10,000. 10,000 going once, twice.
12,000.
I have $12,000. Going once, twice. Fair warning. Sold for $12,000. Bravo. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we have a splendid...
Oh, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Just nip and tuck there for a minute.
True.
Really is a fabulous wine.
Well, it must be, though I wouldn't know. I'm not much of a wine drinker myself.
Pardon me?
Well, they're convicting the man without a trial. It's a top-notch winery, so you've made a very shrewd purchase. And, of course, the money goes to a worthy cause, so I'm sure you should be very pleased.
Oh, I am. I'm just a little taken aback, that's all.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Samantha Santiago. You may call me Sam.
Edgar Turner.
And what brings you to San Francisco?
Well, I'm the chairman of Lublin Industries.
Oh, that's the giant beverage consortium. Understand you make a damn fine bourbon.
Thank you. Actually, I'm here to look over Cerreta Winery.
Really? Why?
Well, it seems that it might be up for sale.
Well, then you have made a shrewd purchase indeed. Tell me, who's selling Cerreta?
I know about your conversation with Lublin.
So I'm exploring a deal with Lublin. So what?
So you're an employee of Cerreta, and no more than that. You have no right to discuss the disposition of the vineyards.
Well, I beg to differ. As the pending executor of the estate, I will have every legal right to do just that.
Well, you're not the executor yet.
Well, if I seem a little overly enthusiastic, let's just chalk it up to my wanting to do a really good job.
Look, Mr. Street, you've already breached your fiduciary responsibilities by casting doubts as to the viability of the company.
Have I? I'd say I was acting in a most responsible manner, considering that both brother and daughter have confessed to the murder of Frank. If an indictment should follow, what do you suppose would happen to the perceived viability of the winery then? I think you better leave, Miss Cromwell. I have a game this afternoon.
I understand you're making a move on Central Falls Country Club.
I'm sure it'd be interesting to know where the financing for your offering is coming from. Oh, couldn't possibly be from the projected commission on the sale of Cerreta, could it?
Oh, good, you're just in time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Just can't get a really good cup of tea with tap water.
Yeah, that stuff's lethal.
Thank you. Yes? Oh, hi, Sarah. Yes, I just did.
Thanks. I know it's a pain, but his system is very sensitive.
I'm sure it is. Now, what did you come up with?
I'm still checking, Christine. This is very difficult. There are hundreds of possibilities.
Well, maybe you'll end up as a doctor's wife. Oh, Sarah.
Here they are. Oh, my God, what are you... He's dead?
This ambulance chaser thinks he can sell the winery out from under them?
I'll call DeRush.
Okay, let him prepare to injunct Street from any and all corporate actions.
That won't hold him for long. He'll be able to make a case that the vineyard's paralysis is economic suicide.
Well, I just want to tie him up for a few days. Then I'm going after his license.
And you're sure that the water incident is connected with Street?
Quite. Apropos, don't you think? That little reptile.
Christine, I know how you detest the man, and I couldn't agree with you more. But he's not the primary concern. Protecting the vineyard is.
I know that. The only way to save Cerreta Vineyards is to find out who really killed Frank.
As much as we both might want it to be, it wasn't Noah. I was with him in the library.
Yeah, well, Roberto's alibi is solid, too. Angelina doesn't know one end of a crossbow from the other. Kelly, he's a weak man, but no killer. Tony's no more murderous than I am.
And Larry?
Larry didn't do it. He just didn't.
Who's left?
I know you like my sherry, but I think you are not here to drink.
Samson, I would not want an innocent man to die for a crime that he didn't commit. I wouldn't want that on my conscience. Would you?
No, I would not.
Senor Rojas, you knew your land was going to be stolen, was the word you used.
That is the right word.
And your business, the family history of 200 years would be taken away?
Yes.
Well, that's a pretty strong motive.
What is it you want, Miss Cromwell? A confession? You do not need to lawyer me. If the sheriff were not here and the hour late, I might well confess to setting fire to the Cerreta wine cellar. Since that is not the case, I can only confess dreaming of destroying them the way they would destroy me.
What about the doll that was nailed to the Cerreta door?
I do not know what you are talking about. I am Samson Rojas. I am no voodoo priest.
Did you kill Frank Cerreta?
I wish I had. After the fire, I went home and got drunk. Stinking drunk.
Any witnesses?
Yes, my mistress. I'm not your killer, Miss Cromwell. I'm only an old vintner who wants to keep his land.
Dr. Santos to cardiology? Dr. Santos?
Well, I never knew him as Frank Cerreta, but it's definitely the same fella.
You treated him?
Oh, yeah. But I can't discuss the nature of it.
You can't.
I mean, I'm really not supposed to reveal details of medical records.
Of course not.
But, seeing he's such a louse,
He was a louse.
and you are such a persuasive woman,
Got the scoop on Frank. He was a patient at San Francisco General, an outpatient chemotherapy.
Cancer?
Brain tumor, malignant, unstoppable. He was a dead man waiting to happen.
Get Grazi on the phone. Tell him I'm on my way. Tell him it's important enough to drop whatever he's doing when I get there. And Sarah. I'm sorry about Lido.
I'm fine. Really, don't worry about it. Go.
Okay. You falsified the autopsy.
I didn't. It was a mistake.
It's too late to cover up.
If you've got something to say, now's the time, Doc.
I purposely overlooked the presence of curare. I had no choice.
What do you mean?
Noah Street had certain information that might have been damaging to...
He blackmailed you?
Several years ago, I performed an abortion that I probably shouldn't have.
On?
Frank's daughter, Tony. She was just a kid.
Ron Lord was the father?
Frank found out about it. He could have had my license revoked. He could have had me sent to jail, but he didn't.
It still doesn't explain the cover-up.
I think it does. I think it just about starts to explain everything.
Good day. Good day. Let's not waste time with formalities.
I've drawn up the papers terminating Blaine and Knapp as investment advisors.
Good. In return, I've drawn up papers holding you harmless for liability damages resulting from your idiotic injunction. Agreed?
Did you lose something, Mr. Street?
Skip the drama. Sign the paper.
Come on, what do you take us for? Nobody would profit more than you by the breakup of the winery. This whole stunt was designed to protect you in case Angelina received shares in a settlement.
Is she going to be going on much longer, Blaine? Because I'm quickly running out of patience here.
No, my guess is she's just kicking into gear.
That was your biggest fear, wasn't it? That Larry and Angelina join voting blocks and oust you as executor.
This is ridiculous.
Care to know where you blew it, Noah? Maybe a nice, cool glass of water would refresh your memory. That's right. I've already got the paper trail connecting you to the water company. And I'll bet if I subpoena your phone records, I'll find a call on the day we were delivered tainted water.
That's it, Blaine. I'll see you in court. I'll sue you for defamation.
That was stupid, Noah. You had it.
I'll be leaving now.
Good idea. Can I offer you a ride?
I'd like to call my lawyer.
You can make that call downtown.
Well done.
Yeah, it's a start. We've got him blackmailing Kelly. Maybe for an attempt on Christine's life. A stretch if we can connect him to the water. And what's all this about phone records and paper trails?
trust me on this one.
Oh, yeah, right. Remind me not to play poker with her. We can't charge him for Frank's murder, Christine. Until you fill me in on this big theory of yours, Larry's #1 with a bullet.
Just bear with me. There are a couple of pieces missing, but we're getting close.
We've been out here how many times? 3? We've covered all the angles.
Luke, I'm telling you, the answer's out here.
Yeah, and his name is Larry Cerreta. And what does he think he's doing? I thought you said he wasn't a runner.
Right. He's heading for the border in a hot air balloon.
Just about set. Sure you can handle this thing?
Sure. Thanks. Now, let's hope I'm right.
Somebody want to fill me in here?
Well, Christine's sure that it was actually...
Not so fast. I've got to sell him on it first.
Okay. Dad?
All set. Oh, well, wait a minute here.
Chicken, come on.
Oh,
hop
yeah,
in.
right. Up. Hoist the mainsail, batten the hatches, damn the torpedoes, dive, or something like that. Well, so far, so good. Now what happens? Just fire it up.
Here we go.
Is this really necessary?
There was poison in the body, but none on the arrow. Why?
Whoever killed him wanted to make sure that if one thing didn't work, the other would.
Maybe.
Are you making this up as you go?
Look, there's the Boy Scout camp where they found the crossbow.
True.
Nobody ever found Frank's computer, did they?
So, you think that's important?
It's important because they didn't find it. Frank used his computer, the mini balloon, and the crossbow to frame Larry.
What?
Frank was a gadgeteer and an expert enologist. He knew enough about chemistry to distill a strong extract of mountain laurel virtually identical to curare. After a final toast, he downed the poison, making sure he was in a good position to take the hit from the crossbolt. Since a crossbow operates on a spring release, it probably wasn't too difficult to rig it for a timed release.
Right, so he swallows the poison and dies, then shoots himself with the crossbow, then runs 6 miles out into the middle of the woods, drops it, then runs back and jumps into the vat of grapes.
Remember when I told you about the radio control balloon at the party? He just rigged it through his computer. The balloon inflated and then floated over the heads of the crowd. He knew the winds in the valley. He knew that the balloon would pass over Larry's house within minutes. Must have been a snap to program the computer to release the crossbow over the woods. Look!
Then the balloons floated toward the mountains and eventually crashed when the hot air cooled.
Right. Frank knew he was about to die, so instead of making peace with Larry, he decided to frame him for murder.
Well, what in the world would he get out of that?
He held him responsible all those years for Antonia dying in childbirth.
Whoa. That is a pretty Byzantine vendetta. That about covers it.
Guess so.
So, now what?
Do I still have that rain check for a date?
Now?
I can't think of a better time or place.
You know how to land one of these things?
Well, what's to know?
Oh, great! Visions of the Hindenburg.
Come on, these things are perfectly safe, I think.
Oh, that's reassuring. This thing doesn't even have a steering wheel.
That's it. You hate it when you're not in control.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's why I'm a good DA and not a very great balloon companion. But relax. Hey, I mean, there's gravity eventually.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Echo, Fortuna.
Flying under the influence.
So indict me.
Wine and women, mirth and laughter.
Sermons and soda waters the day after. Byron.
You know Lord Byron?
Sure, I just can't believe you know Lord Byron.
Well, that goes to show you.
It just goes to show you.
This is Ann Lanker. A call for help is answered tonight by community support at its best for an elderly Buckeye lady struggling to keep herself and her 30 dogs alive. We'll tell you more about it coming up next on News Channel 3.
And this is Frank Camacho. Also tonight, the story of Virgil Redbird, a boy who died in a foster home, a death his mother says was unnecessary and one she is blaming on the state.
And get out your lottery tickets for one of the biggest pick jackpot drawings, and be sure to stay tuned for News Channel 3 following the pick.
This is ABC.
What, I'm supposed to sell my shit for $2,500?
On the next ABC Saturday Mystery.
Prosecuting Blake is like prosecuting Kojak. It's family.
We're your family now.
When were those two Colombians dusted?
The $250,000 bribe?
If you've money, you can buy anything.
It's me. I'm their target.
He's engaged to my daughter, and I love him like a son.
Each man kills the thing he loves.
Monday, Heather Locklear, Suzanne Somers, and Deborah Adair cash in on love.
How to marry a millionaire.
Rich man's single women. Monday.
In 1954, he was a 19-year-old boy with a dream.
I heard the news.
His dream made rock and roll history. Elvis, Tuesday, February 6th.
Wednesday, look who's back.
Julie Costello, this is,
Growing Pains. Then at a special time,
your protector.
Doogie teaches sex ed.
Will you guys jump out of an airplane without a parachute?
Doogie Howser, MD, after Growing Pains, Wednesday.